My name is Scott Worrall. I was in the Army National Guard. I got out as a Spec 4. I was also active Navy. I got out as a third-class petty officer. One day a recruiter had come to our high school and told me about the split option. You go do your boot camp between your junior and senior year of high school, and then when you graduate, you go to your AIT training. And I was 17, and then my parents signed and let me go. I did my National Guard boot camp at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And they got spiders, big ones.
You said it was not a great place.
I went for training to be a crane operator, then I cross-rated to be a heavy equipment operator, and then I cross-rated to be a truck driver.
Wow, that's a lot, isn't it?
It's all within the same area. I can run anything with a transmission. Then when I graduated, I went to Fort Leonard, Missouri for crane operating school.
How was that?
They got big spiders there too.
They got big mosquitoes there too, don't they?
I think the spiders took care of them. I remember the 15-mile road march in the middle of the night. Yeah, your legs turn to jello and then you can't feel them anymore, so walking's not hard. I thought, you know, I need to possibly go into something else, and that's why I joined the Navy. I was able to they let me out early so I could go active duty. So I was discharged honorably from the National Guard, and my last day of the National Guard was my first day of the Navy. I went to the Navy. I was in a 900 company, which was band, drill team, and choir.
Which was what?
Band, drill team, and choir.
Oh.
I was in a choir. We did a lot of performing because it was close to December. It was cold. I did not go to an A school because I got into the apprenticeship program. Basically, you just learn the job as you go. Upon graduation, I came home, came back to Safford for a couple of weeks, and then I flew out and met my ship, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. Actually got to land on it. It was cool.
What kind of ship was it?
That's an aircraft carrier. And I remember standing in the Air Department office and they asked, who here is mechanically inclined? Well, I can take anything apart and put it back together. So I raised my hand. I ended up going and working on catapults. And I did that for my entire time I was there. And working with the catapults, I felt sorry for all the other guys because we would do night flights and night ops and all this. The cats are only running, the aircraft are only running when we're awake. When we are asleep, there's no flight ops. So it's quiet. I was a catapult tech. I worked on the entire system of a catapult, from the water brakes all the way to the launch engine, or launching valves. Rotary retraction engine. I've been up inside the cylinders. That's creepy. They're not very big. And I got to know the system so well that I became the maintenance man of choice. Anything happened, I got called. If they wanted it done quick, fast, and in a hurry, I got called. Because I knew the system like the back of my hand.
Did you spend your entire time on the Eisenhower?
I did.
So were you there the whole?
My whole 4 years, yes.
And you never went on to another ship?
No. I was trying to, I had heard a rumor that, well, the rumor proved to be factual. I had heard the John C. Stennis was going to be sent to the West Coast, and that's where I wanted to go. So I was looking at doing a transfer from the Eisenhower to the John C. Stennis. But they wanted to add another year to my hitch. And I thought, you know, it's not worth it. You know, and I saw a lot of neat things, but on the ship, the most memorable moment I ever had was I was approached by my first class petty officer and asked if I would do a spot check with the XO. And I know the systems and the maintenance checks like the back of my hand. I can do it without even looking at a book. And so I said, yeah, sure, why not? What I didn't know was the XO was doing spot checks with all of the divisions, V1, V2, V3, V4, and I was in V2. And some of them weren't going so well. So they told me, okay, the day that this is going to occur, we're going to be pulling into France. So you'll muster up down in the hangar bay, and we'll do a uniform inspection, and then you'll go up and change your clothes and meet the XO up in Cat 1. And he's going to go look at all the spaces. I'm like, okay, so I muster up, I get my uniform inspected, I take off to go change my uniform, and I get caught in the hallway and say, change of plan, the XO's on his way to Cat 1 right now, you just go. So I'm in my inspection dungarees. So I go ahead and I go. And the XO, he's standing there, and so I asked the XO, because I want to know how he wants this check performed. So do you want me to basically take you through it step by step on what the maintenance check would be, or do you physically want me to perform the maintenance check? Son, I want you to perform the maintenance check. Yes, sir. I take off my dungaree shirt, and everybody looks at me like I am crazy, like I had just stepped on somebody's dog. You don't take your shirt off in front of the XO. But I did, because I'm not going to ruin my shirt. And I sit down and I do this check with the XO as if I'm training him. And I go all the way through the entire thing. And we get done, and he says, you know, you sound very knowledgeable in this spot check, in his maintenance check. He says, but you didn't verbally say this last thing. But I think you did it, because it appears that you've done this 100 times. So he says, you passed. So they all go into the main office, and I'm getting the tools and stuff all put up and getting, you know, dressed, and I go into the office there, and my first class petty officer just happens to tell the XO, we've been trying to get this sailor to re-enlist or extend because his time's coming up. And the XO looks at me and says, son, if you'll re-enlist or extend, not only would I personally do the ceremony, we'll do it in a helicopter. And I looked at the XO and I said, sir, that sounds great, but I'm also ex-Army. I've been in a helicopter. I says, now if you said F-14, F-18 to let me take the stick, I'd say, let's do it right now. He says, well, son, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And I said, well, sir, I'm sorry, but I cannot re-enlist or extend. And yeah, that was, well, come to find out, because we passed that spot check, there was a little thing that they didn't tell me, because I'm walking up and down the hallways, and other people from V2 are telling me, hey, Worrall, good job on that spot check. You right on. I'm like, why is everybody congratulating me on something that is so mundane? And then I found out that if we'd have failed the spot check, the entire division would not have gotten liberty in France. I would have cost it for everyone. We were the only ones that passed. V1, V3, and V4 did not get Liberty. I think the catapult is roughly like 300 feet long. It will take an aircraft and move it from 0 to 150 miles an hour in like 2.3 seconds. The first port I went to was Israel. But the next time I went and did a med cruise, we didn't go to Israel. But I've been to Israel once, France 3 times, Greece twice, Spain 4 times, Turkey twice, Italy 3 times. You know, it just depends on what they want to do.
So does the tour take about a year then?
No, it's usually 6 months.
Oh, okay.
A ship moves faster than people think they do. And then after I did my tour with the Navy, I got out, came home, and I got a job with the Arizona Department of Corrections. And I've pretty much been in corrections off and on from one facility to another for 25 years. And I retired a couple of months ago.
What made you choose the Navy instead of choosing the Army? That's something that was more, you know, like in line with the National Guard.
I didn't like laying out in the dirt. I liked what I did, but I didn't like laying out in the dirt. My grandfather was Army. He was in the last horse-drawn cavalry. He lied about his age. He was 15 when he went in. My father was in the Navy. He was a mechanic on one of the ships. And I wanted to give that one a try. I do regret getting out of the Navy because I had so much fun. At the time when I got out, I was done. But hindsight 2020, I think back about it. I should have stayed. I got a frantic call from my mom, and I went over to her house to figure out what was going on because I got a letter from the Department of Defense, and a full-length legal letter. And I was thinking, they reactivating me? Didn't know what was in that letter. It was a letter of accommodation from the Rear Admiral of the Navy. And then I didn't hear anything from the military the whole time I was in the inactive Rated Reserves. And then I received paperwork showing that I was discharged from that honorably. And it wasn't long after that, 9/11. And I was thinking when I turned on the TV, because my mom called me, I was thinking, they're going to activate me. And I waited for that letter. I would have gone if I had to. I think that everybody should go. And at least get a taste, maybe shorten the amount of time that they have to be there. But I do think that everybody should go, because once you go and see these other foreign countries and see these other cultures, you will actually get a better understanding of the freedoms that you're trying to protect.